It is interesting to note that the laws that govern the smallest of particles also govern the biggest of planets and everything in between. Join me as we discover how these laws that govern the Earth also govern everything that concerns you. It's a journey of discovery on the Geek Testament podcast series with Dr. Kola Olatuboso. Join me on this journey and you'll be glad you did. You are welcome to the very first episode of the podcast series entitled The Geek Testament with Dr. Kola. I am the Dr. Kola. My name is Kola Wole Olatuboso. I'm actually a doctor, but don't go fainting on me. And this series is the Geek Testament podcast series. And why the Geek Testament? It's a book I wrote. It took years and years to write the book. And it's about teasing out the laws that govern the universe and everything in between and applying it to our very lives and seeing how we can get better at, understanding how we live our lives. Because the truth is, if you understand how something works, you can improve on it, you can fix it. I mean, I've had situations where I had an equipment, a TV, a generator, broke down. But because I don't know how it works, I can't even fix it if it gets broken. The same thing with life. You do not understand the laws that govern life. We'll just be playing game of chance and throwing dice. And so Albert Einstein was the one that said God does not play dice with the universe. Everything, even what is random, was programmed to be random. I always say that at some point, the philosophies that help guide the people and the population about what is important, the big question, was quite at par with the science of the day. That's why you hear Jesus Christ or other sages in the old, they will usually talk about things that they could see, or the parable of the sower. They were used to sowing seeds and stuff, and the parables of the wines and wineskin. I've never seen a wineskin. You've never seen a wineskin, but we're still talking about wineskins 2,000 years after they became extinct. So what we're trying to do in this series is to bring our philosophies and possibly our theologies to be at par with the science and technology of the day. Now we're talking about cloud computing. We all fly, we use internet. We've gone to Mars as a species. Now, the simplistic explanations are no longer, being taken hook, line, and sinker. Right now, you have people that will tell you, "Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious." Why? Because the answers that the texts, the religion, and it cuts across all the major religions: Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, atheism, anything out there it's no longer doing it for folks because we keep evolving into a better version of ourselves. And since the stories are stuck 2,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, our desires and our needs and our hunger is no longer being met. That's why people just no longer go to religious houses. A lot of people, they may not claim to be atheists, but they may say they are agnostic. And even the folks that go to church or go to religious places of worship, there's just this cooling and it's going to get worse. What I mean worse, you're never going to have that time when people do things because they found it in a book. People will start asking questions and people have started asking questions. And right now, no one is giving any answers. That is what we want to try and do on this series. We want to bring the lessons we've learned in science and see how we can extrapolate it to everyday life. Incidentally, science and philosophy used to be two sides of the same coin before it diverged at some point. The magnum opus, the book that changed everything, written by Isaac Newton in 1686, July 5, 1686 to be precise. The mathematical principles of natural philosophy. You have mathematics and philosophy in the same heading of the book that changed everything, because that was where he propounded all the laws of motion, the first, second, and third laws of motion, which we'll be talking about later in this series. So philosophy and science used to be together before there was a divergence, based on the level of thinking and thought at that time. But now we know better. We have gone to Mars as a species. We've gone to the moon. We've flown. We fly. We use internet. So that advanced species and advanced understanding is what we want to bring into bear and learn from. No personality less than Elon Musk. Elon Musk is someone I admire greatly. And I do believe one day soon, Elon Musk will be on this show. Mentioned that and I'm quoting him, I do think there is a good framework for thinking. It is physics. You know that the sort of first principles reasoning. That's Elon Musk. And when things are no longer clear, you want to go back to the first principles. And what are the first principles? You want to go down to the fundamental building blocks of what forms the world and how they interact together, which is basically science. And you can do it at home, you can do it yourself. Go through all the laws of physics and you can see a direct link to the laws of life. Oh, you want to move, you want to advance. Anything that stops motion, friction, inertia. That's Newton's first law of motion. Static friction, dynamic friction. The same laws that govern particles govern governments, it governs nations, it governs marriages, it governs careers, it governs literally everything. And that's why this is a journey of not just self-discovery, but we're discovering it together. And I'd like you to join me on each episode of this podcast series where we open and we learn together, we discover it together. This is not no one is standing on a pedestal pointing at you. No, we will co-create this together and get better together as we embark on this journey. I'd like you to join me on this series every week on this same channel, and you'll be glad you did. Once again, this is Kolawole Olatubosun inviting you to join the Geek Testament podcast with Dr. Kola. Make it a date with us and you'll be glad you did.